What's up guys, it's Yuval here, and in this video I want to give you guys all the best tips and tricks for shooting awesome B-roll. But first off, if you're new here, my name is Yuval and I make videos about filmmaking and content creation. So if you're interested in that kind of videos, make sure you subscribe to never miss another video from me, and also hit that like button to help me with the algorithm. I would highly appreciate that. But now let's get back on those tips. So the first tip I have for you guys, and it's the most important one out of them all, is plan your B-roll. You have to go out with a plan, like literally make a shot list of the shots you need to get, because otherwise you're just going to run around and capture some random shots, and when you go back to editing, you're going to realize you don't have the shots you need, and you just shot a bunch of garbage. So when creating your shot list, you want to make sure you have all the shots you need to tell the story. So that usually means some kind of a wide shot, some establishing shot to show the environment so we can understand where the film is taking place. You want to get shots of the people involved, so that might be like a close-up of someone's face, or maybe more of a medium shot with the person in the environment to kind of link between the two shots. Some close-ups of important details, so if it's a wedding, then you might want to get a macro shot of the ring. So really everything you might need to tell the story. Later on you can just scrap some of the shots, you don't have to use all of them. Just make sure you have them, so if needed, you have that shot. So before you go out there and actually start shooting, make sure you have a list of the shots you need to get. Also write down the gear you need to take the shots. Do you need GoPros? Do you need a big camera? Do you need another cameraman? Do you need an assistant? All these things have to be planned beforehand so you can get the most out of the shooting day. So for me, the most important thing is planning. So my next tip is going to be to actually think before you press the record button. And what I mean by that is actually shooting with intention. Sometimes we have the tendency to just get carried away with everything that's happening, just trying to capture as many things as we can, and we forget to actually stop and look at our shot list and also think about the framing, the lighting, the camera movement. These things can really make or break your B-roll. So you have to think about that before you actually start recording. So if I now look at my shot list and I know I need to get a close-up of someone's face, for example, then instead of just going and just taking that shot, like not thinking too much, instead what you want to do is actually think about the framing and see if the light is good from the side you're shooting. See if your shot has contrast, has depth, see that it's really an interesting shot and you're not just pointing the camera like eye level and like just taking that shot because it's on the shot list. For camera movement, you don't need a whole lot to make the shot interesting. Just do a little push in, a push out, some sort of a pan movement, just some kind of a movement to make it more interesting. So moving on, my next tip is going to be to get a variety of different shots. So if you have a good detailed shot list, then you already know what you have to shoot. So make sure you cover the basics, like take your wide shot, then take your close-up. Make sure you have that. Then try and kind of take different angles, maybe shoot from down below, maybe get some details that you didn't think about when creating the shot list. Go low, go wide angle. Just try a bunch of different stuff, but remember not to overshoot too much and still maintain focus. So when you go back into editing, you actually have options, and it's not just all the B-rolls looking the same, because that can get pretty boring. So another general advice is to try to overshoot a little bit. The worst thing that can happen to you is when you finish shooting and you start actually editing your project, and then you realize you just don't have enough footage. So overshooting a little bit is always better than not having enough footage, but just make sure you're doing it with intention. You're looking at the shot list and you're capturing shots that you actually need. So the next thing I want to talk about, and you guys knew it was coming, slow motion. Not all B-roll has to be 120 FPS. Now don't get me wrong, I love a good slow motion clip. It can look really good sometimes, but just watching a slow motion clip after a slow motion clip after another slow motion clip just gets really boring really fast. So instead what you want to do is mix it up. Use a normal speed clip, then a slow motion clip, then maybe 2 normal speed clips, and then another slow motion clip. Just mix it up, keep it interesting, keep your video dynamic. So with that being said, it's still worth mentioning that maybe you do want to shoot everything 60 frames per second, because then you have the option of slowing the clip down or keeping it normal speed. So if you're not sure if you're going to use that clip in normal speed or in slow motion, it's better to shoot on a higher FPS so you have the flexibility when editing. So the next tip is to actually stop and think while you're shooting. It's easy to get carried away and lose track of what you're actually shooting. So make sure once in a while you stop to look at your shot list and just make sure you're doing what you were set out to do. You're following the shot list, you're getting the shots you need. Look at the time, just reassess, make sure you're fine. Do this like every few minutes or so just to make sure you're on track. So next up, I want to talk about adding camera movement in post. So remember earlier in this video I talked about camera movement and how you can move in or push out or slide left to right. Now you can do all these movements in post-production to really spice up your editing. Just go to the effects control panel and keyframe the positioning and scale. So doing these movements in camera will always look better, but just know you have the option of adding it in post-production. Now my last tip is you can actually use stock footage for B-roll. So if you're in the middle of editing and you realize you're missing a shot, you can always search for it in stock footage sites. So my personal recommendation is going to be Artgrid.io. In my opinion, they just have the best service and just the best looking footage, highest quality you can find, so I highly recommend them. There's going to be a link down in the description below. But not only can you use stock footage as a filler, you can actually create a whole B-roll sequence just using stock footage. This can be great to easily get footage of things you might not be able to shoot yourself. Maybe it's a far off location, like a tropical beach, and maybe you live in London, or maybe you just don't have the skills to shoot what you're trying to shoot. So stock footage is always a good option, an easy option to find great footage for your videos. But that's all for today, guys. I hope this video helped you out. I hope you go out and create amazing videos. If this video helped you out, please press the thumbs up button and also consider subscribing to never miss another video from me. Also check out my Instagram page, it's @yuvala96. I'm posting a lot of content over there, some behind the scenes stuff, some Instagram stories so you guys can know what I'm working on, what I'm up to, so make sure you hit me up there, it's @yuvala96. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see all of you in the next video.